Because imagine that you didn't know what virtual reality was, okay? Imagine for 1 second that you put on virtual reality goggles and you had no idea that you ever put them on. You're living in a three-dimensional world looking around. You don't know you have goggles on. You don't remember putting them on. You're going to think that that virtual reality is real. And that's what happened to you in this world. You actually are in a world that you created, but you erased your memory of entering it. In this video, I want to be teaching you the art of assumption, because once you learn the art of assumption, not just the law of assumption that it works, but actually using the art of assumption, then you can manipulate your world to exactly the way that you want it to be, whether it's being successful and happy or creating the world that you actually want. Okay, so we're going to cover that in the Crown of the Mysteries. Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is Chapter 15, The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. Okay, so the assumption of the wish fulfilled is the ship that carries you over the unknown seas to the fulfillment of your dream. So that's a good way to look at it, okay? Your assumptions, like what you're assuming, what you're visualizing, what you're affirming, what you're scripting, that is your wish fulfilled. That is the ship that carries you over the unknown seas to the fulfillment of that end, whatever it is, to your dream goal, okay? So the assumption is everything. Realization is subconscious and effortless. The assumption is everything, guys. Like what Neville Goddard says right here, and I absolutely agree with him, that the assumption is everything. We're living in an assumptive world. Everything is created from your assumptions of it, whether you're using them consciously or unconsciously. You are creating your world through your assumptions. So learning the art of manipulating and controlling your assumptions and how you're viewing your world and what you're imaging and visualizing in your mind, what you're affirming, all day long. You may be using affirmations for 5 minutes a day, but the rest of the day, your mind is visualizing and affirming something completely contrary to that. So take complete control of your affirmations, of your visualizations, of your feelings, of your assumptions, and your entire world will change. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this. This is William Shakespeare, Hamlet, okay? This is where they've been telling us this for such a long time about how the assumptions create, like assume a virtue. There it is. There's that word, assume. The art of assumption is everywhere. William Shakespeare, assume a virtue if you have it not. Act on the assumption that you already possess that which you sought. Act on the assumption that you already possess that which you want. Okay, so blessed is she that believed, for there shall be a performance of those things which were told her from the Lord. Luke 1:45. Blessed is she that believed. Okay, blessed is she that believed in her assumptions, or believed that this works. That way you start assuming and start using the art of assumption and creating the life that you want. Creating anything that you want. Okay, so as the Immaculate Conception, this is where Neville Goddard gets into the Immaculate Conception. And as we know, there was no man that impregnated Mary. It was actually God, so to speak, the symbolic nature of it. God implanted, Mary with the pregnancy of Jesus. Okay, so this is where he gets into this, and which is the foundation of the Christian mysteries. Okay, so the assumption is their crown. Okay, psychology. The Immaculate Conception means the birth of an idea in your own consciousness unaided by another. All right, so the Immaculate Conception has been misconstrued and misunderstood for a long time, especially in the Christian ministries. Okay, so what it means is when God implanted Mary or impregnated Mary with Jesus, with unaided by another person, all that means is you can create anything you want all by yourself. You don't need another person. All you need is you to create an idea or a feeling, visualize something that has already happened, implanting a pregnancy within yourself with your imagination, which is God. Okay, so that's what it was trying to tell us. That's what that story is symbolic for, is you can create anything that you want by impregnating yourself with an idea or a feeling state as if it's already completed, and then that will happen. Okay, so then he gives his idea or his example here. Okay, so for instance, when you have a specific hunger or wish or hunger or longing, it is an immaculate conception in the sense that no physical person or thing plants it in your mind. Okay, so it's self-conceived. Okay, so it is, right here, it is self-conceived. Every man is the Mary of the Immaculate Conception, and birth to his idea must give. The assumption is the crown of the mysteries. Your assumption, the art of assumption, is the crown of the mysteries. It is the highest use of consciousness. The highest use of consciousness is the art of assumption. When you take control of your assumptions and assume a feeling of the desire already being fulfilled, and you act this way all day long, all night long, fall asleep as if your life is exactly the way that you want it to be, and it will happen. Okay, so that's what this story is representing to us. When in imagination you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are mentally lifted up to a higher level. When, through your persistence, this assumption becomes actual fact. When through your persistence, the assumption becomes an actual fact, you automatically find yourself on a higher level. That is, you have achieved your desire in your objective world. That's when it's complete. Okay, so you have sought that, you have felt the completed objective in the physical world. You have felt that in the psychological world. Then it happens in your objective world. All right, so your assumption guides all your conscious and subconscious movements towards its suggested end. So inevitably that it actually dictates the events. All right, so this is really important because I really want to explain this. Okay, so when you assume something as if it's complete, and you actually persist in that assumption and disregard your 3D as if it's already happened. In your mind, you do this through a feeling state. Everything in your world, including you, is going to take you to that end. It's actually going to dictate the events that are going to happen, whether ideas are implanted in your mind and you're going to take action from those ideas, or they're going to or they're going to happen in your world with the people around you. Doors are going to open. Your phone's going to be ringing. Things are going to happen that are going to dictate that event to happen in your life once you have assumed that it is already complete. That's the way that it works. Okay, that's the most important part of the law of assumption, or the art of using it and being conscious of your assumptions. Okay, so the drama of life is a psychological one. There is no physical world that is real, that is separate from the psychological world. Everything starts from your assumptions. The art of assumption is so important to understand and use every day in your world. The drama of life is a psychological one, and the whole of it is written and produced by your assumptions. So I'm going to give you an example of this, how it is written and produced by your assumptions. A good way to look at your world, the hologram that you're living in, is imagine yourself going into a movie theater. You go into a movie theater and you're looking at the screen. And all of a sudden, boom, the projector behind you actually produces the effect that you're looking at. Okay, so it's being projected out of the projector onto the screen, even though it's two-dimensional, or whether you're watching a three-dimensional, with 3D glasses on, then it becomes three-dimensional. But it's usually two-dimensional that you're looking at the screen, and you got the actors in there. You can see a whole entire world within this movie, but it's not real, okay? It's all being projected from behind you out of the projector screen. That's exactly how this world that you're living in right now is created. It's a psychological world. This is a psychological world that is being written and produced by your assumptions from the projector, not the screen itself. So you're looking at the screen, but it's not real. This hologram of life that you're looking at is just like, it can be equated to that. It is, so you can't affect anything by touching the screen, by yelling at the screen, whether it's something in the movie that you don't like. You cannot change it. You have to go to the projector, which is in you. The projector is in you, in your mind, coming out of your eyes, projecting the world of space, just like a movie screen, except it's way more high tech than you created it. Okay, so God created it, but we are particles of God, which is the imagination. The imagination is creating this world of space that you see. This movie that you're living in is just like that. Okay, so the drama of life is a psychological one coming from within you, and the whole of it is written and produced by your assumptions. You can change the movie by changing your assumptions. Imagine you could do that in a movie theater. If you're watching a movie and you don't like the movie, but you're like, okay, so I'm not going to go move to a different, movie theater. I'm actually going to change it right here. So you assume that the movie is something different, then it has to change. It has to change. That movie's going to change. You don't have to move to a different movie theater. You actually can change the movie by changing your assumptions of it, by projecting a different movie, because you are the projector. The projector's not behind you, it's in you. And you can change your world by doing this, okay? So learn the art of assumption, for it is the only way you can create your own happiness and success. That is how you dictate your world. That is how you create a different movie, a different life of your movie, because this is what you designed this world for. Then you erase your memory of creating it, Because imagine that you didn't know what virtual reality was, okay? Imagine for 1 second that you put on virtual reality goggles and you had no idea that you ever put them on. You're living in a three-dimensional world looking around. You don't know you have goggles on. You don't remember putting them on. You're going to think that that virtual reality is real. And that's what happened to you in this world. You actually are in a world that you created, but you erased your memory of entering it. You erased your memory of entering this world. That's why you think it's real. But now we are giving the keys to actually manipulate it, control it, and to live a happy life, a good life, a wealthy, successful life, and create anything that you want. So if your life isn't the way that you want it to be, you did not design it that way. So start changing it by using the art of assumption, guys. All right, guys, I love you guys very much. And we will be getting to the next chapter here very shortly, chapter 16, personal impotence. Okay, it's a very good chapter we're going to be getting into. All right, guys, I love you guys very much. And this was the Crown of the Mysteries, chapter 15, The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. Don't forget to give me one thing you guys are grateful for in the comment box below, and I will see you guys in the next video.